independent thought, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The majority of Americans, forgive me, I'm just the messenger, no longer consider you to be competent, focused, or effective at the job. What would you say to those Americans who no longer believe that?
Look, I had a basic decision to make. I either withdraw America from a 20-year war that cost us $150 million a day for 20 years, where we lost 2,448 Americans dead and 20,722 wounded. And I decided to end the war.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love it. You decide. Wait, who decided? It's Trump's fault, but it's not Trump's fault. You made a decision, but you didn't make a decision. It's not about whether or not people think this was a good thing to end. The reality is, it's the way it ended. It's how you did it. It's how you did it. How many people you threw under the bus and how many people you left dangling out there. And if you don't think the polls are changing, let's take a look at this, shall we? This is an NBC News poll. NBC, right? Kind of one of the wings of the Democratic Party. Presidential Biden approval, April, 61%, now 46%. Economy, 60%, now 45%. COVID, 81%, now 52%. 52%. Biden is facing a crisis, and every time he opens his mouth, it just feels more and more uncomfortable. And it's not just him, it's the entire cast and crew over there.
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
But a UN report this summer says that al-Qaeda is present in 15 of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. What the president said just wasn't true.
As we all know, we went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission and one purpose in mind. We got bin Laden a decade ago.
But Mr. Secretary, the president
Please.
said al-Qaeda is gone. Is al-Qaeda gone from Afghanistan?
Al-Qaeda's capacity is vastly, vastly diminished.
Is that true? First, it wasn't there, then it is there. Again, the frustration that everybody feels. Nobody feels they're getting anything that seems to be transparent and real. And it's frustrating. We spent a ton of money over there. We lost lives over there. We changed people's lives. We put them in harm's way. They've come back injured. They come back struggling with PTSD. And some of them, the ultimate sacrifice. And what have we got out of this? A bunch of gibberish. Nobody really seems to know what's going on. And it has been an absolute nightmare when it comes to the people that have helped us. And if you don't think that's true, you're fooling yourself. People are so desperate to get the hell out of there. They're so desperate to get their families out of there.
It begins at the front barriers with the Taliban, a crush of people pushing, shoving, screaming, children crying out. I can honestly say it was one of the more harrowing things. But at these bottlenecks, you have these very dangerous situations where you have a crush of people and crowds. And one soldier was telling me that yesterday, 2 women actually threw their babies over the fence.
Think of that for a second. Think of that for a second. So desperate that you would throw your child over a fence. It's not a baseball game, right? The Marines aren't going, throw it back, throw it. No. It is terrifying. And he what? It was never going to be perfect. No matter what took place, it was going to be uncomfortable at times. But if you don't think that the rest of the world's not sitting there going, sweet mama jamma. The Brits tore him up last week, and he had the audacity to come out and say, well, nobody's angry at us. The Brits essentially said, you may have condemned the world to Chinese domination in the future. Think about that for a second. They went off on him when it comes to, the Afghans weren't ready to fight. They went off on him over the way that they've done this entire thing. An absolute mess, and it's lying right there at his feet and you could throw it up at it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. But let me tell you something. The more that you talk and you say crap like this.
Again, every single report, whether it is an American citizen, and we are in direct contact with American citizens, we take those extraordinarily seriously, or the reports we're seeing about at-risk Afghans who may be impeded. We take those extraordinarily seriously. It's difficult for us to speak to reports that are anecdotal, that may be on social media. The reports we can speak to are those.
The Secretary told congressional leaders.
Yeah, wait. It's anecdotal. It's not a big deal. It's anecdotal. It's not. Martha Raddatz, again, another person, leans to the left.
If you have an American passport, and if you have the right credentials, the Taliban has been allowing people to pass safely through.
Not in all cases.
There's no such thing as an absolute in this kind of environment, as you would imagine, Martha. There have been incidents of people, having some tough encounters with Taliban.
Not in all cases. Well, it's not maybe not in all cases. Continually doing it over and over again. You failed on this one. Now the question is, how do you pivot? Now the question is, what do you do to pivot? And every time you open your mouth, it sounds like a bunch of crap. Every time you open your mouth, it sounds like, ugh. You don't know. And it is frustrating. It is very, very frustrating. America's not as back as you think it is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. All that being said, we've got chaos going on over there. Over here, well, we've just got the usual stuff. We got COVID on the rise. We got people pissed and angry over the fact that some people haven't got vaccinated.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you.
Oh. How effective are masks? I keep asking the question. Well, according to a new study, cloth masks filter just 10% of exhaled aerosols, with many people not wearing coverings that fit their face properly. Now, the N95, K95 mask may be the best way to avoid COVID-19 during crowded indoor events. But the reality is, as we've been talking about for a long time, cloth masks don't really work. The study finds a large buildup of aerosol droplets suspended in the air will get through about 90% of them. Besides raising awareness of the vulnerability of certain masks, these findings also emphasize the need for proper ventilation indoors. Why do most masks, they say? And this is a huge study. This isn't something small. It's like, oh, we're just going to get together. University of Waterloo did a massive study. We have talked about it over and over again. Do masks work? Do you have a proper mask? Does it fit properly? Do you wear it the right way? Do you replace it? Or did you buy it at Target because it matched your outfit? Did you buy it at Target because you thought to yourself, well, that one seems comfortable? Did you buy it at Target or, or Old Navy or in line at Walmart because you thought, I like ninjas. I've got some that have ninjas on it. I'm under no illusion that this thing does anything. Zero illusion. This lady is pissed.
Because the people that are trying to do their part in this are getting sick because of you stupid, ignorant morons. So, please get vaccinated.
Well, based on that, we're all going to run out and do it. Frustrating as it is. Cases are still rising in certain places. Other places, they're topping off. I have a feeling we're about 2 to 3 weeks away from it starting to turn around and head the other direction, because it kind of works its way, as this has done in the past. When you go and look, we're about 6 to 8 weeks behind the Brits, and they're kind of looking at the, cases slowly but surely start to come down. It went up for a while, plateaued, came down, kind of holding steady, but it's a nightmare. It is a frustrating nightmare because we can't just sit here and have a conversation about what's the best way to get through this damn thing without A, shutting everything down, B, fighting with each other. We can't do any of that stuff. It's all or nothing. Here's the reality. I've said from the beginning, we have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, around this thing, and eventually above this thing. And everybody's too busy trying to be right about their take. They're trying to win a battle when we should be going, let's just win the war. People can't do it. People cannot do it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shea is your Twitter. Please free to tweet at us. Text the program as well. Hope all is well with you. A lot of stuff to get to. Tennessee, nightmare floods in Tennessee. In fact, to the point where if you're in Tennessee, we have several stations that listen to us, you probably know how bad it is. What an absolute disaster that is. Inflation on the rise. Got some more woke stuff as well. It's a good Monday for sure. Roman. ED, erectile dysfunction. People suffer from it. You know exactly what's going on, right? You want to be ready when the moment comes. Once you do this, go to GetRoman.com/Chad. Talk to a licensed healthcare professional. With Roman, you get free online evaluation for ongoing erectile dysfunction, all from the privacy of your home. Makes you confident, right? Which is always what you want. With the flagpole to fly high, that's what you want. And it's so simple. It is. You get a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. They're going to work with you, find the best treatment. If medication is appropriate, ships to you free within a day. So within 2 days, you'll have it. And it's simple and easy to do. Get started by going to GetRoman.com/Chad. You complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without ever leaving your home. Complete online visit today. Do it right now. Go to GetRoman.com/Chad. When you do that today, and if you get prescribed, 50% off your first month ED treatment. GetRoman.com/Chad. GetRoman.com/Chad. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this summer. Roman ready. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
17.26 inches of rain will end up being a state record for Tennessee in less than 24 hours. How does that happen? A stationary front. Sounds just like it is. Stationary, doesn't move. And the training thunderstorms, just like a train, the cars going over the same track over and over, ended up dropping Saturday morning into the afternoon more than almost 1.5 feet. So really incredible numbers there.
Yeah, incredible numbers. So far, 22 dead. Those numbers are going to change over the next several hours and days as they can try to get to people. The flooding was massive. Some people described it like a tsunami.
Came outside, I turned my truck on, went back inside to get my kids dressed. By the time we came outside, there was no saving anything.
Many roads washed away, power lines wrapped in the debris. Officials searching through cars and homes, looking for the missing.
Yeah, horrible. I mean, some of the and you go and you look and you're like, we always talk about, we joke around here, nature will mess you up. But the reality is nature will do whatever nature does. Doesn't matter if it's a virus, and it doesn't matter if it's a front that is moving across your state, your city, and decides, you know what? I'm stopping here today for a little while. I kind of like this place. Nature will do what nature does. And to watch the deluge that some of these places throughout Middle Tennessee has gone through is insane. It is incredible. And you go back and you take a step back and go, oh, wow, that's nature. That's what nature can do. So hopefully the worst is behind. But the entire Northeast seaboard itself has got hit with, was it Henry or Henri, depending on how you want to do it. I know yesterday the Gulf was canceled. Supposed to be trying to get it off today. The finals are in like the playoff side of things. May or may not happen. But it was definitely, you saw parts of Maine get hit with stuff where you're like, whoa, they haven't been hit with anything in forever. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Again, huge issue for Biden, and it's not going away. And every time he seems to talk, it gets worse. Our allies are not happy with what's going on and the way that we pulled out of Afghanistan. The Afghani people that we were supposed to be helping aren't in on it right now. There is a huge issue, and I don't know what Biden does to pivot from here.
If they extend it, that means they are extending occupation. While there is no need for that, I think it will deteriorate the relation, that will create mistrust between us.
So, lots of mistrust. Mistrust everywhere. Our allies are not thrilled by what's going on. The American people, while supportive of getting out of the war, not happy with the way that everything has taken place. Not happy by the way that this thing was done, because it seemed to be, quite frankly, just like, hey, today, we're doing it now. We're doing what now? We're pulling everybody out. Okay, so the military leaves. Oh, my God, we forgot all the people. We got to go back and get them. Oh! And it's not just this. He's got a big issue right now. If you look at the polls across the board, and they look at it, the economy, people are asking questions about the economy. And the handling of COVID right now, people are asking questions about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. A lot more to get into this. A lot of good stuff as well. And some wokeness straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you.
I play that because people are pissed. People are angry. We have the world of coronavirus, which it seems to be us versus them. I tell everybody my vaccination status. If you guys want it on the radio, I'll tell it to you. It is, I'm vaccinated. I had it, and I'm vaccinated. Over the weekend, a fellow talk show host, Phil Valentine, who was syndicated at one time and spent the last 3 years or so in Nashville, built up quite a reputation, passed away. He was only 61 years old. Pretty good health as far as I know. But he wasn't, people say he's anti-vax. No, again, there are several people. There are people that are anti-vax because they think you need a vaccination and who knows what's inside of it. You're going to be magnetized and stuff like that. There are people out there that are cautious. They're hesitant. This thing's not really approved yet. That seems to be coming sooner rather than later.
I wouldn't be surprised if they issued that full approval soon. And the reason is because they have so much data now, and we as a world have so much experience.
Yeah. Lots of data, lots of stuff that's out there. Pfizer will be first, then probably Moderna, and then Johnson & Johnson. And then they'll go from there. And it's not a vaccine. I always tell everybody it's not a vaccine. It is a preventative shot, much like the flu shot. But what it does is it mitigates so much of what could potentially be done if the virus was to infect you. Breakthrough cases are still very, very rare. Very, very rare. If you go look at the amount of shots that are given out comparatively to the breakthrough cases that are out there. But the frustrating part of this is people are so anti-vax that they're willing to try anything at all. Now, this is a bit of a parody, but the reality is, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but people are out there taking essentially a deworming thing. Wait, what? Yeah. Ivermectin. So, people are trying to essentially, if they get COVID or something, to take this thing that is used for cows. I'm going to say that again. Cows. And they're taking it because they're afraid. It's like they won't get a vaccine, but they'll go and go, hey, does that thing work on horses and cows? Well, sign me up.
Anyways, I was at McDonald's today on my phone, and I was doing some research on Facebook, and it turns out my cousin Chet knows a guy who knows another guy, and he has a barn, and he treats his horses and cows with this deworming solution, and apparently it also works to cure COVID. So I asked him how much it costs, and he said $500, and I was like, to cure COVID? That's nothing. So I took it. Now, again, this is a parody. She is parodying the fact that people are taking this. All right? Just to give you an example of what you should and shouldn't do, this is something you shouldn't take. Why?
Please don't take medication yourself. Ivermectin at high doses can be toxic and even deadly at really high concentrations in animal models. Normally, when we've used ivermectin for like intestinal parasites or for scabies, it's a one-time dose, right? One day, that's it, and you're done. This is not an everyday sort of medicine sort of thing. There are potential toxicities. I think some people are trying to use it as a preventive, which I think is really kind of crazy. So please don't do that.
Disclaimer. Please, for the love of God. Have we used it for certain things? Yes. One time, one and done. Internal parasites, things of this nature, right? This lady's making fun of, man, I was at McDonald's and my cousin knew a person who knew a person who knew a person.
And I didn't know how much to take, but I figure I'm not as big as a cow, even when my ex-boyfriend Billy Joe said I was as big as a cow, but I don't think so. And I wasn't as small as a sheep. So I took about a cup and a half, and it was green apple flavored, so it wasn't so bad. And the good thing is that I don't feel very COVID-y anymore. I have some stomach pain on a scale of 1 to 10. It's like a 9, but I have a very high threshold for pain.
Let's go over it again. Don't take it.
So these stomach pains will pass. I'm going to ride it out, and I don't have COVID no more. I'm cured. Anyway, y'all, just want to make sure you knew that this horse dewormer treatment's real safe. Safe.
Oh, God. It is so sad. It is so sad that that's where we are. The people are that desperate. Somebody asked me over the weekend, said, yeah, would you get the shot? I said, yeah, I did. Why'd you get it? I said, well, I talked to some friends I know who are in the medical field, a couple of which work for Big Pharma. And one of them works as a big research person in Big Pharma who essentially goes out, takes all the research, puts all the data together when they go apply for patents. And, I just want to know, is this thing safe? Absolutely. Absolutely. Doesn't mean there's not going to be problems. If you give 200 million people aspirin today, somebody's going to be allergic to something. That's the reality of it. But you got to do what's right for you. And I'm not for mandates. I never will be for mandates. At the same time, I think we should take a step back and realize at some point in time, you've got to ask yourself some serious questions about this. We've had it for how long now? They started testing it well over a year ago. And over that period of time, what's going on? Do you see a ton of people just dropping dead out of nowhere? No. But people are so desperate that they'll do stuff like ivermectin. Just do it. Do it. It's crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A little wokeness here. Over the weekend, Bill Maher, who I love, I watch him because he is what I call a classic liberal, right? He leans left, but not uber left. He doesn't want to be taxed to the hilt. He thinks that, we got to fix some of this immigration mess over here. At the same time, he stands back and says a lot of this wokeness in particular is ridiculous. And he had Andrew Sullivan on. There's Andrew Sullivan is a guy who, if you guys don't know, we're talking about a guy who at one time he's a British guy. He was a blogger. He has worked for pretty much anybody and everybody that you could think of. He's written a ton of books. He's just a smart dude, works with the New Republic right now. But he talks about some of the chaos that goes on inside of newsrooms, which is something I always tell everybody. You have no idea if you've never been in one. I'm fortunate enough to be in a newsroom where they're very newsy. Like it's old school, like very old school. They don't even want their news people to have any kind of opinion on any of these things that are out there. And they come from the Cronkite School of Journalism, many of them. So the way that the lady who runs the news director, Martha, she does a great job at even when we interact with them, when we bring them on, they don't want them to have any kind of opinion, which is kind of what we were hoping for in the world of news, which we don't get.
You were at New York Magazine, but you kind of quit them because newsrooms right now have become a place where you used to be able to fire by the editor or the owner. Now you're fired because the woke in the newsroom, right? You have to conform to the one true opinion or they don't even want you in the building.
It's a complicated thing because actually I was fired. I was nominated for a Pulitzer one year and the next year fired. Not for anything I wrote, but because I wasn't going to completely go along with their woke agenda.
Yeah, and that is insane, but it's true. So wait, you're not fired because you suck at your job. You're fired because you didn't like the agenda of what they were doing in a place where this is the news. Well, it's a private business. Absolutely, it is. We got zero problems with it. But usually, if you're going to get rid of somebody who's nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, right, is there a reason for that? Are you a cancer inside of there?
They knew that. They knew that. I don't know what they were thinking. That's who I am anyway. I don't know why it's so terrible to have someone in a magazine or to have someone, a dissenter in a magazine. It's fun, right? I mean, that's the whole point. I grew up wanting to debate, wanting to argue. I had a big Irish Catholic family. We fought about everything. What was the problem? And afterwards, we got together. We had a nice drink. We were totally cool about it.
And it's not even like you're very conservative.
No, he's not. Think of more of a libertarian. Used to be conservative-ish. But we live in a world now where it's reactionary. And rather than look at what the reality is, people live in the world of the internet and they think it's real. A lot of these young kids I talk about, they think it's not real. It's not. 15 people, 100 people, 200 people tweet something and they're mad at something and you're like, we better react to it. No, that's not the reality of the world.
If the editors are responding to social media, Twitter is what creates these online mobs that create this pressure on the editors to fire individual writers, even if the editors are fine with the writer. The real problem with this is not so much the woke and the online media, because they are awful and they should be ignored, but they aren't. It's liberal institutions, universities, magazines, newspapers. They don't have the balls to say no. We do believe in a plurality of views. We are going to defend unpopular writers. Free speech means nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't. Not anymore. Not anymore. We're going to have more on this on the other side. We're going to talk about it because just to show you how insane the woke mob is, wait till you hear this next story about a guy who played a character in a game. Yeah, We'll have more about Andrew Sullivan and wokeness. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Raycon, best earbuds around. Played a little golf yesterday. Had my Raycons. It was awesome. I haven't charged them in a while. Went out, played 18, got through as many as I could. Man, slow people on the course. Can I say it drives me crazy? But I'm sitting there listening to my stuff, relaxing, enjoying a beautiful non-100-degree day out here. And it was gorgeous. No stems, no wires, 6 soft gel tips. What that does is allows you to fit the earbud in perfectly. And a price point that's awesome. 45-day happiness guarantee. And the charging case that you get, you charge it up. It has its full charge. You can take it anywhere, and you'll get 4 full charges for your earbuds out of that before you have to be plugging it back in again. You will love, love, love these. Get your Raycons now. Save big. They start well under $100. In fact, they start under $70. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
There are 2 ways of looking at the world. And one is to see it as individuals coming against each other regardless of their race or sex and having a conversation, using reason, persuading each other or not persuading each other, deliberating the common good for democracy. That's what it's about. But when you start defining people, not as individuals, but as members of a race or a gender, and then saying that some races have to be given more precedence over other races, some genders have to be preferred to other genders, this started in the universities.
Yes. Andrew Sullivan over the weekend on with Bill Maher. There's a guy's Pulitzer Prize nominee. This is a guy who's one of the best journalists out there who leans a bit right, but not uber conservative, but is opening up about woke culture inside of newsrooms and the insanity of which it goes on. And I'm not here to bash newsrooms. I mean, you get what you get. You know what you get at Fox. You know what you get at MSNBC. You know what you get at CNN. You know what you get at Newsmax. Those things, you get what you get. But the reality is too much of the establishment media is dominated by this insanity. And what this does, and he's right, it starts at universities. People want to cancel everything they don't agree with. It used to be the beauty of the country that we live in is in the free speech world that we live in is having debates and defending the other person's idea to say something, even though you may disagree with it. Now it's, I don't like what you have to say, so therefore you shouldn't be allowed to say it.
You've written a lot about how we seem to be giving up on the idea of a colorblind society, which used to be the goal. It's like we didn't change. You changed.
Right.
I still think that should be the goal.
It is the goal. It must be the goal. Because our humanity matters more than the part of humanity we're from. And America, of all places, the most multiracial, multicultural society on earth, will not survive if we are constantly in warfare between groups or genders, if we're constantly obsessed with this.
Yeah. But that's the way it is right now. It's the intersectionality that is dominated these professors and this insane world inside of universities where everybody is some sort of protected class, where you have 48,000 genders, where it's ridiculous and everybody gets to be some sort of victim and then protected. Even if it means that somebody can sit there and go, you know, I have a differing opinion. Well, because of that, you have now committed violence in some people's minds. How dare you have a different opinion?
Meaning of America.
Right.
Racial oppression. Nothing else matters. The country was founded in 1619, not 1776, because slavery is what this country is about. Well, you know what? It is about that. We are. But we are also about so much else. We're about religious freedom. We're about freedom of speech. We're about the empowerment of minorities.
And things have changed greatly since 1619.
Do you think the Chinese are less racist than we are? Do you think the Russians are? No. It's a miracle what we do in this country.
Yes. But no. To some, no. To some, it will never be anything other than evil and bad, and that's what this country is. I've been fortunate enough to live in parts of Sweden for a while and throughout Europe, and I will tell you, you travel enough and I've pretty much been to every country in Europe a dozen times. You travel enough, you find out what diversity is. And this country is absolutely diverse. But the wokeness has to stop. Case in point, there's a game called Boyfriend Dungeon. Pretty popular amongst the youths of America. One of the voice actors had to address an issue. Says, hey, I cannot believe I have to address this, but please don't send me hate messages about my character in the game. I know he sucks, but I'm just a voice actor. Saying it reflects poorly on me to play a character like this is so confusing. There's a bunch of bad people out there. I don't support what these kind of people are doing, saying, and thinking it at all. It's just acting, y'all. Yeah. The fact that people are going after somebody, yeah, well, why don't we just go out? Why don't we go after Thanos? He killed a bunch of people. But he's not real. Oh, there we go. That's the stupidity of which we live in. I don't even like the character you play, therefore I have to cancel you. It's not real. How much of it is? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Pfizer vaccine is the first to transition from being authorized for emergency use to full approval by the Food and Drug Administration. It comes a week earlier than initial estimates. The FDA designation signals the Pfizer vaccine has shown enough effectiveness and safety to meet the most stringent requirements. Approval is expected to touch off vaccine mandates in the public and private sectors, and it's hoped dissolve some of the lingering hesitancy about the shot.
There it is, kids. It's official. Pfizer, Moderna will be next, probably in the next couple weeks. There you go. People kept telling me, well, Chad, it's experimental. It's not. Well, it's only on emergency approval. That's fine. It's fine. There you go. I kept telling everybody, you know what you should be pissed at when it comes to stuff like this? How long it takes to get things to market. How much money it costs to get things to market. And I do mean years. There's where you should be angry. But it's official. It is now FDA approved with it being rubber stamped. What's this mean for some places and people?
A lot of companies are going to have an easier time mandating the vaccine for their employees once it's FDA approved. This could also affect travel. Cruise lines, for example, will have a lot easier time demanding you get the vaccine.
That's right. Businesses now will have an easier time of saying you need to be vaccinated if you want to work here. Travel will have an easier time. I don't think it'll be a forever thing, because I think once we get this thing to a manageable flu-like, not only situation, like with the flu, we don't stop travel for the flu, but we get to the point where that we think of it like the flu. And part of that's going to be us changing our thought process. But you're going to see more and more companies say, all right, well, it's time. We're going to mandate this. We're going to mandate this. Right now, there is a battle going on. And I try to explain to some people, the battle is not about the vaccine or mask itself. It's the pushback from people who feel like you're telling me to do something that I'm not quite ready to do. Some people, they turn it into far more than it should be. Even Trump's out there.
You know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. No, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? But it is working.
That's Trump, who played a big part in this. Take the vaccine. Some people won't. They're just never going to do it. Pisses some people off.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you.
Yeah. I have people I have known that feel that way. Maybe not as vehemently as she does, but feel that way. Over the weekend, a fellow talk show host, Phil Valentine, who worked at Super Talk 99.7 in Nashville, who'd been there for a while. He was syndicated for a number of years, had about 100 stations, passed away. He died. Now, he claimed not to be anti-vaxxer. I don't think he was, but he did voice skepticism, and that's fine. Look, it's okay to voice some skepticism and stuff in the way that it comes about. Totally get that. I understand that. But he continued through his family that once he got sick, and by the way, he documented all of this along the way. Said he had it, thinks he's going to be fine, thinks he was over it. He got a little bit worse, but then he thought he was over it again. Then it ended up where he went to the hospital. And in going to the hospital, eventually things took a turn for the worst. He refused to get the shot, but his family was telling everybody, urging everybody who was listening, get the shot. When I get back on the air, he kept saying, get the shot. I'm going to get back on the air and say, get the shot. He never got back on the air, and he never will. You do what you need to do. I got zero problems with that. If it's because you think that this thing is going to turn you into a magnet or into some sort of hybrid DNA reptile monster or any of those things, that's insane. If you're hesitant because you want to see it work a little longer, but it's based in a place where it's a comfort for you, I get that. If it's because you think this thing's a hoax, that's silly. It is. I want to get through this thing as fast as anybody. Most of the people I know took the damn shot, not because they thought they were going to die, because they want to get the damn mask off. Now we're masking up again. And it is frustrating beyond all belief. Pfizer's now good to go. Will that help some people? Maybe. For other people, again, there's that 15+% that will never get this thing no matter what. But there's also 15 or 20% that are on the fence. Will this push some of them over? I think it will. Will it push all of them over? Probably not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Over the weekend, Biden came out and just did what Biden's been doing.
I've continued to make progress since I've spoke to you on Friday. We have moved thousands of people each day via U.S. military aircraft and civilian charter flights. In a little over 30 hours this weekend, we've evacuated an extraordinary number of people, about 11,000 individuals. That number will change day to day as the air and ground operations in Kabul vary. Our first priority in Kabul is getting American citizens out of the country as quickly and as safely as possible.
Yeah. Are you doing that? It depends on who you're talking to. It's been a giant, huge mess over there. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Clarissa Ward.
I spoke to one woman who actually got separated from her family. So she was inside here, but the rest of her family was stuck outside the base. There is no mechanism for dealing with a situation like that. If you lose your family, you lost your family. There's no way to reconnect people if they stay. There's no way to bring them in from the front gate. Honestly, there's no way to rescue anyone from the front gate. It's survival of the fittest.
Yeah. So you've got Afghan nationals who helped us, who were in serious peril, no matter what the Taliban say. And by the way, let's be real. What do you think their intentions are?
The Taliban has said we'll see whether they mean it or not. They're seeking legitimacy. They're seeking legitimacy to determine whether or not they will be recognized by other countries. They have told other countries as well as us they don't want us to move our diplomatic presence completely. So all this is all just talk now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody's buying what they're selling. I don't think so. What about Al-Qaeda? That's the big word. Al-Qaeda rising up. Al-Qaeda becoming a force again. Al-Qaeda. What about them?
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with Al-Qaeda gone?
But a UN report this summer says that Al-Qaeda is present in 15 of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. What the president said just wasn't true.
As we all know, we went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission and one purpose in mind. We got bin Laden a decade ago.
But Mr. Secretary, the president
Please.
Said Al-Qaeda is gone. Is Al-Qaeda gone from Afghanistan?
Al-Qaeda's capacity is vastly, vastly diminished.
Yeah, but they're not they're not gone. And part of that is the fact that, remember, people say, well, how did they grow in there? You had a guy by the name of Osama bin Laden who saw what was taking place with the Soviets and Afghanistan. He had been somewhat radicalized, not to the extent that he became, thought he could be a help to the Mujahideen, went there, and gained stripes, gained respect. He didn't just want to be the guy that was the money guy, which is what he was. He wanted to go out and fight, and he did. And people talked about the fact that he was brave, and he went out and he did all kinds of things that got him not only attention, but gained him respect. Afterwards, he wanted more. He didn't agree with some of the stuff that was going on, in particular with America, the bases, all of those things. Then he bounced from place to place. As he became more radicalized, places kicked him out. Afghanistan felt they owed him a debt of gratitude, allowed him to set up shop. Did they know that that was going to happen 9/11? Probably not, because they weren't fans of what took place, because they knew what was coming. But now is a different time. He's gone. There is no one face of evil. They are not what they once were, because we're paying attention far more than we did up until that point. And we did crush them in a lot of ways. And it's not just us. You've got all of our allies who are out there who realize that any free society could potentially be threatened by this. In saying all of that, this was a giant mess, and it leaves a huge vacuum. There's a vacuum right there. To just somebody can come in and fill the void. And China is looking to do so. China also has their issues, though, because the Uyghurs are essentially in concentration camps, re-education camps. And we know, you're supposed to fight for your brothers and sisters. How does that play out? Well, the Taliban's looking for legitimacy, and they'll take the access of evil if they think they can get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens makes Ed a pet food better. And it does. I know, because I give it to my dog Doodle. This weekend, Doodle and I went out. We had fun. We chased some rabbits. And by chase some rabbits, Doodle runs. He doesn't see you very well. He's much older. But he runs now. He chases them. He'll never catch them. Even at his best, he was never going to catch them. But I will tell you this. To see him do things like that, to see him jump is great. What does it have in it? It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of these incredible things that your dog's food is lacking. It's just a supplement, goes on top of your dog's food, and it brings your dog's food to life. Right now, they want you to try it before you buy it. You go to ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. When you do, they're going to send you a bag for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. Try it now. ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a peek and see what's trending. What's going on in the interwebs? Start first and foremost. Today we're going to start over on Google. Kobe Bryant, trending. It's his birthday today. Hurricane Henri yesterday, over 1 million people were trending. It was trending, seeing what was going on. Same thing with Tennessee, flooding. Craziness. If you have not seen it and what it has done and what nature will do at any given time when it wants to. Pfizer is also trending. It has now been fully approved by the FDA. Oh. Netflix, Cowboy Bebop. John Cho is playing, is the leader in the live-action version of Cowboy Bebop that Netflix is doing, because everything now has to be live-action in some way, shape, or form. Got to have live-action. Head on over to Google. From Google to Twitter. Yes, kids. Anti-vaxxers is trending, along with Pfizer getting its FDA approval. Portland touched on it and will continue to do so over the weekend. The usual stuff that goes on in Portland, but this one was a little bit bigger. You had the hard right and the hard left fight it out and engaged in craziness and chaos. One man was arrested for firing a gun at a demonstrator. Nobody was hurt in the exchange of gunfire, but once again, chaos. And this is what happens when you ignore, as Wheeler and so many others have in Portland, what's going on. It's not just about the crime, the homelessness. When you've got one of the most beautiful cities in the country that is just, it is every night it's something different, and it's not a good something different. See it in Seattle and elsewhere, and it is a nightmare. And continues to be so because you allow it to happen. And Afghanistan is trending everywhere. And part of the reason is because Biden, once again, over the weekend, it started Friday with just a hot mess. And it continues. And every time he seems to open up his mouth, it gets worse. And over the weekend, it was nothing but a bunch of the usual suspects going out there trying to defend what was going on and how things were taking place. And it was, this is Ned Price of the State Department.
Again, every single report, whether it is an American citizen, and we are in direct contact with American citizens, we take those extraordinarily seriously, or the reports we're seeing about at-risk Afghans who may be impeded, we take those extraordinarily seriously. It's difficult for us to speak to reports that are anecdotal, that may be on social media. The reports we can speak to are those.
Secretary told congressional leaders.
Yeah. It's not. You're trying to speak to stuff that's anecdotal. It's not to these people and not to the nightmare that could have been prevented. Wasn't going to be perfect. I've always said that. But the way that we've done it and pulling out, we have left a lot of people there, not just ours, but allies, on top of the fact that there's Afghans at risk. All right, let's change pass. Recall. Gavin Newsom, straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
He is campaigning across the state. He is running negative campaign ads about his challengers.
He is now in full campaign mode. We're going to see Vice President Kamala Harris with him this week, campaigning with him in the Bay Area. He's also saying what's at stake on a national level. What if a Republican replaces him and there's a vacancy in the Senate? Who gets to replace that seat? A Republican that could tip the balance of the Senate nationally.
Ooh. Gavin Newsom. The recall is real. What started out as we'll see, and laughter, ha, in a state that is uber blue and uber to the left has now become a real thing. Joining us now from the Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, Jim Kennedy. All right, Jim, it is very, very real, and it is getting realer. It is underway, if you will. So let's talk about this. What are the chances that Gavin Newsom, who was once the darling of the left, the chance of him, he's got bigger aspirations. This isn't the only thing he wants to do, could actually be recalled?
Chad, it's about 1%. So it's about 50-50 at this point because you're within the margin of error. He is up 1.2% if you average all the polls for the recall in California. And when you take into the margin of error on all of those polls, it's basically a toss-up. And I agree, when this first started, I know some of the people that tried this back 18 months ago or almost 2 years ago when they first started collecting signatures before the pandemic. And I said, God bless you, but, you're doing a fool's errand here. You've got no chance of getting it on the ballot. And if you somehow do, you got no chance of him winning because this is blue California. But here we are. We're a little over 3 weeks away. And we're basically at a 50-50 poll right now for Gavin getting recalled.
How did we get here? How did we get to a point where you look over and you see Gavin Newsom? Again, you go look at Cuomo, high profile. We all know where that's going now. I think today's his final day. You look over at Newsom, and he is getting the Gray Davis. If you guys don't know who Gray Davis is, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the one who replaced Gray Davis. How did we get to a point where this became something real? Was it all pandemic, or was there a bunch of other things?
No, there's a bunch of other things. Some of them are pandemic related. Some of them aren't. The pandemic really kind of helped push this. I don't think we would be here if it wasn't for the pandemic and his way he closed down things. Also, his faux pas going over to French Laundry and having a maskless dinner right in the middle of the shutdown. The number of companies that were affected by this is truly devastating. And I've had small business people in San Francisco contact me directly when this was starting, asking me how can they go out and get petitions to collect signatures from their other small business owners. These people were in the heart of San Francisco, true blue San Francisco. And for the small business owners, this has been devastating. You add that in with the EDD fraud, the employment, the unemployment division fraud of $31 billion. There was a report that came out on Friday that the California auditor has found $71 billion worth of COVID relief funds have been misspent in California. So that, between the other problems, the high personal income tax rates, the second highest gas tax in the state, the homeless problem, which may be one of the top 2 or 3 things that are affecting people. The fact that you can pretty much, worry about somebody pitching a tent in front of anybody's house in California and they won't do anything about it. Also, we've got a problem with a growing crime for property crime because of some of the bills that we've been passed and some of the propositions that basically make anything under $1,000 a misdemeanor. And unless the police witness it, they will not do anything about it. They've even told store owners to stop calling them because there's nothing they can do, because if they don't see it, it's not a crime, and there's no reason for them to basically be bothered by it. So that's why you've got stores closing like Walgreens that are closing up in the Bay Area, because people literally will just walk in, take whatever they want, and walk out. The store's been told, don't stop them because you don't want to create an incident. Don't arrest them because you may raise the company to a lawsuit for basically false arrest. And it's pretty much whatever you want under $1,000 is yours now. And people are getting fed up by it, amongst other things.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, as California comes into the nation's eye. We saw what happened to Cuomo. Cuomo's out for different reasons, but Gavin Newsom may be out for another reason, which is just basically bad management and being, quite frankly, a do as I say, not as I do kind of person. That happened with his kids going to camps, not wearing their mask. It happened with him on several occasions, not wearing his mask. Let's shift from Gavin. So the way this works, for those of you guys who know, explain it to everybody, Jim, how the recall works, because I don't think a lot of people, they think he's running against people, and you heard that report that he's already running negative ads against other people. But how does it actually work in California?
Yeah, no, they've been throwing negative ads. In fact, they've got an ad against the recall with Elizabeth Warren, or Liawatha, as I prefer to call her, that is irritating a lot of people because they're claiming it's the Republican recall, quote unquote. But how this works is very simple. Even though I just got an 18-page sample ballot a few days ago, it's got you've got two questions on the ballot, but they need an 18-page sample ballot to figure this out. You have two questions. First of all, do you wish to recall Gavin Newsom as governor? Yes or no? If you select yes, that means you want to recall him. No, you don't. If you select yes, then you have a second column of about 46 people who are running to replace him, and you select one of those. And then, so if recall passes with 50% plus one, meaning yes, then whoever has the most votes in that column B will become the governor of California. Currently, that is Larry Elder, the radio talk show host, is about 19%, followed by Gary Pathrath, who is a internet celebrity investor landlord with about 9%, and then John Cox, who's run for California governor 2 or 3 times as a Republican, is right around 6%. Those are the top 3 right now. So Elder is quite a bit ahead, and yes, they already have started running negative ads on Elder to try to slime him because they are that concerned. Plus, they've been working on the last couple of days. There have been a number of learned people in constitutional matters writing articles claiming the whole recall is illegal or is unconstitutional and shouldn't even be happening as it is. But those lawsuits have already been shot down, both in previous times when Gray Davis was being recalled, and earlier this year. Those types of suits have been shut down by the courts.
Let's talk about Larry Elder, talk show host. I know Larry, very, very nice guy, interesting guy. I grew up listening to Larry in a lot of ways. He's very interesting, to say the least. He has got a lot of followers. I mean, he's 70 years old almost. He's a bright, articulate, interesting, hardcore conservative at times. Never really backs down from anything. It's always been that way. He's black. He used to have his mom on the show all the time to talk about, what it was like to be conservative, and always kind of to set him straight. But the funny thing is, Larry jumped in this late, had to sue to get on the ballot, and you were talking about about an article this weekend about Larry and who he represents in some ways. What was that article?
Yeah, there was an article in the LA Times over the weekend claiming that Larry Elder is the face of white supremacy. Now, if you can't get any more ridiculous than that, I don't really know. I don't know how an African-American conservative is the face of white supremacy. But again, this goes back to the whole narrative that I mentioned with the Elizabeth Warren ads, that they're trying to basically make this is the Republican recall. Remember those horrible people who had this quote-unquote insurrection back on January 6th and tried to overturn the government? Well, now they've come to California and they're trying to overturn legally elected Gavin Newsom from the governorship. You must stand up to these people, otherwise you will die from COVID or something like that. I don't exactly know. They're kind of conflating a bunch of different things. But yes, no, it's simply ridiculous. But just shows to me how concerned they are and how much of a chance they really do have of replacing Gavin Newsom in this recall in 3 weeks. If you had gone out on July 1st and asked somebody, what do you think the chances are that by the end of summer, the Democrats will no longer control both California and New York? Thrown in the funny farm. But hey, it's a reality. And it's very possibly going to happen. And they're really concerned about it. And they're going after Larry Elder because he's the leader right now. And he's the one that's the most concerned to Gavin Newsom in the recall effort.
By the way, the guy that's in second, who's a YouTube kind of sensation, he's a Democrat, right?
Yes. And it's funny because I see a lot of the people online, or liberals that I know, they're talking about whether they should vote for him or not. And some are like, well, he's not really good Democrat. I go, yeah, but he's a Democrat and it would be better than any of the horrible Nazi Republicans, quote unquote, that we could elect. So, they're really confused on what to do on the B column, because you're allowed to vote on the B column even if you voted no in the recall. So there's this whole Democrat effort to try to screw up what happens, even if somehow Gavin Newsom goes down. But they always say, do not vote for Elder, because they're all concerned on the left about who's going to become it if the chance happens and Gavin loses. So yeah, Pafford is like I said, is number 2. That's probably just because those that are voting in the second column that are Democrats are seeing the D next to his name, or they're knowing that he's a Democrat. I don't think there's a D next to his name, and basically voting for him. But he's about 10 points behind Elder right now. Elder's about 19.5, and Pafford's a little over 9% right now.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, last question, Jim. Handicap for us. What do you think? Do you think he gets recalled? Because I look at this. This is a big blow if he was to be essentially asked out there in California. He is what a lot of people think is going to be a chance at being president one day. They look at him in the Democratic Party. He's got all of it. He's got the looks. He's got the political cachet. He's got all of these things, and he's also running arguably the biggest state and the fifth largest economy in the world. If he was to be essentially tossed out of there and replaced by a Larry Elder or a YouTube guy, the reality is that doesn't bode well for the long term, let alone the short term, but the long term for him and for the Democrats.
No, and I think really his political career is over at this point, even if he does win, because in the polls they've asked, well, if Gavin wins, do you still want to vote for him next year? Now, remember, even if whoever wins this, we are still going into a gubernatorial election cycle starting in 2022. Starting in within about 7 months, we'll have primaries again for the 2022 elections, and then 2022 November we'll have a general election to replace the governor, to vote on a new governor. 58% of those polled, and this includes a lot of Democrats, said that even if Gavin Newsom wins the recall, they want someone else running. So I think his career is pretty much over, even if he survives this, because he's been tainted by this pretty heavily. So I don't think he's going anywhere as far as running for president. And if there's a presidential candidate from California coming, it's going to probably be Kamala Harris, not Gavin Newsom. But at this point, it really is a toss-up whether he survives or not. And it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this turns out. We got 3 weeks plus a day, and it's going to be interesting between now and then.
You think he wins, yes or no?
I don't know. Right now it's a toss-up. I would have said 18 months ago that this was a fool's errand, but right now, as the way it's trending, I can certainly see it happening. As people start sending their kids back to school and they have to be masked, and evidently there's a whole list of ideas that he's got coming after the recall election on further clamping down on things in California. I don't know. It's really, really close, and I could certainly see it happening right now.
Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Follow him at Righty Jim. Thanks so much, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chad. Have a good one.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's going to be close. It is. And I think they look at him and they think he could have been the future. He looks like Christian Bale. He's got it all going for him. And at this point in time, I think that's going to be a tough road to hoe in the coming months. And the fact that they even think about voting you out next year should you win, and that they want up to 60% of people want to see somebody else run against you, that doesn't bode well. But this is what's going on across the country, and this shows you what coronavirus has done and the impact it's had. I guarantee you in some states, I don't think Abbott would be in this much trouble if there was a recall today. I don't know. I don't see. I mean, every state has a recall effort all the time, but very few ever get anywhere close to this. All right, MyPillow right now. Limited time offer, 50% off any Giza Dream Sheets. Are you ready for this? Price start as low as $49.99. 50% off. The most comfortable sheets in the world. So when you're tired at night, you're going to slide right into them, the Giza Dream Sheets. And they are super comfortable. Guaranteed to be so comfortable. The world's best cotton. Grown only in the region between the Sahara Desert, Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It is called long staple cotton. It's ultra soft and breathable. I love it. I love it. Tons of colors to choose from, tons of sizes, machine washable, 6-day money-back guarantee, 1-year limited warranty. So for limited time, you get 50% off all Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com, radio listener special, type in code Benson, boom, away you go. 800-983-4975. You can get the Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $49.99. Check out all the other many deep discounts they got from the from the MyPillow mattress topper, which is amazing, to the towel sets, to the incredible MyPillow. Don't miss it. It is a huge sale right now. $49.99. Giza Dream Sheets. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
This world, it's a video game. You're not real.
Free Guy scores his second weekend in first at the box office. The comedy starring Ryan Reynolds and Jodie Comer earned an additional $18.8 million for a 2-week domestic take of $58.8 million.
Paw Patrol, what's your emergency?
A surprise second-place bow for the animated Paw Patrol, $13 million there.
Nothing is more addictive than the past.
Hugh Jackman's sci-fi thriller Reminiscence bombs, opening in 9th.
Free Guy. It's going to be the hit of the summer because, once again, summer took off. Looked like we were going to have a normal-ish summer. But then you had a situation where you had movies opening up, and as they were opening up, they were either rentable immediately or on certain platforms absolutely free. So you didn't still have that situation where you're having a major hit. And in this day and age, Free Guy looks like it could be that kind of hit. Worldwide, it's done about $112 million. Done about $60 million here. It was done a few years ago. People don't realize it was done a few years ago. And they thought that once they finished the movie, there was the Fox, Paramount, Disney, everybody, people buying and flip-flopping things. And so they pushed it to the side. But there will be another one. And it's enjoyable. That's what I say. This weekend, I watched two fun movies. I watched The Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife, which was hilarious. Ryan Reynolds movie. Samuel L. Jackson, Salma Hayek, Morgan Freeman. Very enjoyable. And then last night, or Saturday night, we watched Jolt. And it's an Amazon movie with Kate Beckinsale and Jai Courtney, who is Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. And that was very fun, too. Again, movies that are fun. That's what I keep telling everybody. As woke as everybody wants to go, sometimes it's about just having fun. We deal with this all the time. My uncle and I, we go out and stuff gets pitched to us and back and forth, and it's about fun. That, to me, is what it should be more and more about. On the other side of stuff, there is no fun going on at Jeopardy. Jeopardy is got a lot of issues. Last week, Mike Richards out. How many shows did he do? None. But you got Mayim Beek, of course, who is Blossom, and she was on several other shows, including when you look at this whole thing about her being, can she be the one? Was she going to be the one? But no, there's problems there too, because apparently
she talked back in 2012 or 13 about the idea of her family not getting vaccinated. She was unclear about what it was. She didn't do what other people do, which is ranting and raving about how vaccines are terrible and full of bad things. She may harbor those feelings, I don't know, but she did say that the family has been vaccinated for COVID-19.
So that's why they want her gone? Yeah. This is the insanity of which we live in. Telling you guys, everybody wants LeVar Burton. Those people who want him are the people who have stuff on LeVar Burton, but they can't get it out there because he's not got the job yet. Crazy. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In announcing the approval, the FDA said the public can be very confident the Pfizer vaccine meets the high standards for safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality required of an approved product. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy told ABC News it would tip fence sitters toward taking the shot.
But second, I think you'll see more universities and workplaces that were considering putting in requirements for vaccines to create safer places to learn and work. You'll see more of them likely moving forward.
Pfizer was the first vaccine maker to request FDA approval. Others are following suit.
Yep. So there you go. So the fence sitters. Do I think it's going to make people who are fence sitting get off the fence? No. Some it might. Some it might. But there's about 30% of people or so that are dead set against getting this. 30%. They're just not going to get it. Right? 15 of those are just never going to get it. The others cautiously optimistic. Never say never. But they're waiting. They want to see what's going on. They want to have a sense of, is this thing real? I think they could be happy to know that this is good. This is good. But will they get it? That I don't know. There's that 15% we've talked about. They're never going to get it. They could be facing death down. And they will never get it. Even if they say, if we give you the shot, there's a 99% chance you're going to survive. If you don't get it, you're probably going to die. And they'll be like, I'm fine with that. Because I don't want to be a slave to the government. Now, with this, one thing's for sure, the opportunity now for businesses to go, because there was a lot of hesitancy of saying, hey, we should have mandates if something that wasn't approved by the FDA. Well, now that it is.
A lot of companies are going to have an easier time mandating the vaccine for their employees once it's FDA approved. This could also affect travel. Cruise lines, for example, will have a lot easier time demanding you get the vaccine.
Yeah. Some people are already ahead of it. Mayor Bill de Blasio.
The full approval of the Pfizer vaccine. This is a game-changing moment. We've been waiting for this for a long time to have the full approval of vaccine. We now have it. This helps us move forward, and we're moving forward with our schools with this new vaccine mandate.
And what's that mean for schools?
To ensure the safety of our schools, of our kids, of all the adults in our schools as well. Today, the New York City Department of Health will be issuing an order requiring all staff in the New York City public schools to be vaccinated.
Oh. All of them to be vaccinated. What's going to happen? Don't know. You're going to get pushed back in some areas? Absolutely. But vaccine mandates are coming. And this is what you're going to find, as we've talked about this in the past. So much of it is about being told to do something. Not whether or not you're willing to do it. It's about being told you've got to do this or else. It's about being told you better do this or else. So you've got that group, that 15%, never getting it. They'll lose their jobs. They're fine with that. That other 15, 20% sitting on a fence. Maybe 5% jumps over. Some are still hesitant. But I think once the next one, Moderna, passes by, I think you'll see more and more people jump. But you're still going to get a group that never will.
You know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. No, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? But it is working.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the battle continues. And when you get that, you get things like this.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you.
That's how some people feel about this. That's how strong. And I will tell you, I have people I know that feel that way. They will come out and say something like that. But what they will come out and do is they will come out and they want you not to get sick and die, but they do want you to get it almost and feel it. So they can say, ha ha, I told you. That's the issue that I have. It's the same on the other side, where people are like, I had it, nothing happened to me, I'm fine. Get over it, you should too. You're sheeple. We've got to stop that. We should all be trying to get to the same place, which is to get over this damn thing and get on with our lives We're going to have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and above this thing. And remember, it's not going anywhere. I don't know about you, but I thought a year from now, last year, I thought there's no way we're going to be arguing about masks. Well, we are. There's no way we're going to be arguing about this crap, but we are. At some point, enough is enough. How do we agree to disagree in some cases, yet at the same time move forward? Frustrating. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Over the weekend, more from Afghanistan, which is a hot mess and continues to be a hot mess.
The majority of Americans, forgive me, I'm just the messenger, no longer consider you to be competent, focused, or effective at the job. What would you say to those Americans who no longer believe these?
Look, I had a basic decision to make. I either withdraw America from a 20-year war that cost us $150 million a day for 20 years, where we lost 2,448 Americans dead and 20,722 wounded. And I decided to end the war.
It was never going to be easy once we decided to get out. It was never going to be easy. We should have been doing it for months, not hours. And that was the big thing. This falls on you. The more you speak, the worse it sounds. You spend people out there and you continue to have them spin something that the reality is none of that is true. Chris Wallace over the weekend had Blinken on, right? So there's your guy, your defense dude, the man. He's coming. He's there. He's talking. And he's just basically full of crap.
What interest do we have in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone?
But a UN report this summer says that al-Qaeda is present in 15 of the 34 provinces of Afghanistan. What the president said just wasn't true.
As we all know, we went to Afghanistan 20 years ago with one mission and one purpose in mind. We got bin Laden a decade ago.
But Mr. Secretary, the president said al-Qaeda is gone. Is al-Qaeda gone from Afghanistan?
Al-Qaeda's capacity is vastly, vastly diminished.
Some of that's true. Some of that is. Some of it's shifted other places, but it's not what it once was, and it doesn't have that leader that can galvanize them and bring them together and get them to do certain things. It's too fractured at this point. But to say that they're gone and they're not operating would be a lie. Why? Well, part of the people that operated in those, because there's a mixed bag there, are people that went to Afghanistan, stayed in Afghanistan, some of them who were Afghanis. Along the way, others joined in and never left Afghanistan. And they just fought with the Taliban. Why? Because they were fighting against the West and all that was. Do I expect them to be as influential as they once were? No, because they also have issues. They have issues with ISIS. I'll tell you one thing. That was kind of the thought process that people, Trump and others, had thought about in the past, that Taliban doesn't want ISIS there. Taliban wants, well, they want it to be their show. That's what they're hoping for, is it to be their show. What's the reality of it? I don't know. I don't think anybody understands or knows what the reality is of it at this moment. But the thought was, ISIS tries to move in, they're going to have to fight the Taliban. It'll be, King Kong and Godzilla, in theory, fighting each other, and then go from there. But the British, over the last 10 days, have absolutely destroyed Biden over the fact that they feel like he has ceded the world to China in doing what he has done.
The Taliban has said, we'll see whether they mean it or not. They're seeking legitimacy. They're seeking legitimacy to determine whether or not they will be recognized by other countries. They have told other countries as well as us they don't want us to move our diplomatic presence completely. But so all this is all just talk now.
Yeah, it's all talk, but it's a nightmare. People are dying. It is a crush. People at the airport, hour to hour. People are hoping and praying to get out, but it is an absolute nightmare, and that lands on your feet, Mr. President. You said you wanted the buck to stop with you. Enough blaming other people. It lands at your feet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. So my dog Doodle, who I love, and is real. Somebody asked me, is he real? I said he's real. He was a hot mess. He's not a hot mess anymore. His coat's better. His hips don't hurt. All because we made a small change in his diet. We didn't even change any of his food, really. We just got the supplement from Rough Greens called K9 Vitasmart. Sprinkle it on top of his food, and it brings his food to life. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this amazing stuff, and it brings his food to life. We do it for our puppies as well. And yes, I've even given it to my big tortoise and Winston. I've sprinkled on top of some of their stuff. It's tough to get Winston. Winston only likes treats, but he'll eat it. There's the beauty of this. K9 Vitasmart from Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. They want to send you a bag for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. See the difference in the coat. See the difference in how much more energy they have. See the difference. Feel the difference with your puppy, with your dog. Simple and easy. Sprinkle on top of your dog's food. Watch what happens. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. It's roughgreens.com/Chad. You go there. Check it out for yourself. Pay for shipping. They're going to give you a bag for free. Or you can call 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
American households on average spent more than $4,500 on groceries in 2019. Experts say that number is sure to rise as many lost jobs and families cut back on dining out during the pandemic.
Yep. Inflation up. Well, it's temporary. Some of it is. Others, not so much. Some things may be here for a little bit.
Shopping at the dollar store has become an everyday thing.
I know the price is going to be fantastic.
Over the last year, inflation has increased 5.4%, forcing more shoppers to change where they spend and out of regular supermarkets.
Dollar stores are becoming such a huge part of the American landscape that some cities are mandating that they include either a pharmacy or access to fresh produce so as to truly serve their communities.
Yeah. So where I live is very rural. It's weird. It's like I'm 60 miles outside of Phoenix, and same thing pretty much outside of Tucson, right in the middle of everything, and stay up here a couple nights a week. But where I live is pretty rural. We have like a 99-cent store, we have a dollar store, and we have another dollar store, all in the space of like 3 miles of each other. And it's a trip. They have produce, they have all kinds of stuff, but it is needed because to get to the little towns about 15, 20 miles away, so it serves the purpose of what needs to be done there in my little itty-bitty town. And it is boomed. It is boomed. They're busy all the time. People are looking to save money, and stuff's become more expensive. Here's something. So this is the Independence. This is a new poll from Independence on Biden. So think about this for a second. His approval from 61% in April to 46%. COVID from 81 to 52%. But here's a big one. What's the thing we all participate in, whether you want to believe it or not? Oh, I don't. The economy. 60% down to 45%. That is a massive fall. That is a massive fall. And these are independents. People are looking around saying, what in God's name is going on? Shrinkflation, it matters. We all, what? Participate in the economy. We all participate in the economy. And people are getting frustrated because they're looking around and what are they seeing? They are seeing rising prices, smaller items and packages, and a dollar that potentially could get weaker. And they're worried about not just inflation that's temporary, but inflation that sticks around. Do I think all of it's going to stick around? I do not. But do I think some of it may be here for a while, much further and longer than he thinks and his experts? Yeah. We'll see. But it's always the economy, stupid. And if next year we're in a situation where we are struggling still, fighting COVID and each other, that there are start-stops everywhere, that inflation is at where it's at, still, you don't think for a second that there won't be a massive, all right, we got to get rid of you, not so much Biden, but the others, i.e. the Democrats? Yeah, that'll be a midterm slaughter. If they turn it around and they happen to be on the other side of it, I think there's a chance they survive somewhat. But at this pace, if you ask people today, hey, would you like to do a redo on a lot of voting? I think you'd get, yep. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
For the past several months, Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine had been administered under emergency use authorization following a thorough review of the data and clinical trials. But now that the FDA has given its full approval to Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, this could open the door for more vaccine requirements.
One is you may see more people coming forward, those who perhaps were on the fence about getting vaccinated, and this may tip them toward doing so. But second, I think you'll see more universities and workplaces that were considering putting in requirements for vaccines to create safer places to learn and work.
That's Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy on ABC's This Week. He also says there was even more data available to regulators, which allowed them to come to this decision.
It's actually unusual for an application for full approval to be submitted with this much experience, with hundreds of millions of people having received the doses.
More than 200 million Pfizer shots have been administered in the U.S. so far.
Yep. So it's now official. Pfizer is a go. Will there be more people now requiring, mandating you get vaccinated? I think that is going to happen. Absolutely. It's going to happen sooner rather than later. Colleges being some, there'll be some pushback in certain areas. Private colleges can get away a lot more than publicly funded colleges. So you will get some pushback. But the reality is this will make it easier for things like travel. They want to say, hey, you want to be on this flight, you're going to have to show proof of vaccine. And the sad thing is, if you're a business, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Your whole thought process, I want to keep people safe, and I want to keep people working and people using said product, visiting location. At the same time, a lot of business owners I talk to are like, but I don't want to mandate anything. But we might have to. And it's frustrating to a lot of people because we've gotten to this point where this is what it's all about. Hell, we're at a point now. Well, and I want you to listen to this lady. She is pissed and she is angry. Says a lot about who she is, about mask wearing, vaccines, all of this stuff. I mean, you could hear just the disdain in her voice.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you.
Yeah, she's sweet. She's pissed. She's angry. By the way, obviously the mask didn't work. New study out of Waterloo University that basically what we've talked about. You buy a mask at a store, Comes a little plastic bag, but it's got a neat design on it. Like for me, I found one. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's got ninjas on it. I love ninjas. I'm under no illusion that thing's going to stop anything. They say about 90% of stuff gets through. 90%. So unless you have a KN95 or an N95 and you actually wear it properly, it goes back to being more or less a placebo effect. Will it stop some things? Is it better than nothing? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that's the battle we have. She wasn't finished, by the way.
Because the people that are trying to do their part in this are getting sick because of you stupid, ignorant morons. So, please get vaccinated.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it right there. Get vaccinated, you scumbag pigs. Please. Please, please, please do it. Please, 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 please. It's so funny. But it's nuts. I mean, that's where we are. We're fighting over this. Sean Penn.
And I think vaccination is the beginning of that, given that it's such a threat now to business, to lifestyle, to life here and around the world. I have some areas of strong belief in the Second Amendment, but I think that you need to recognize how, with something like this, you can't go around pointing a gun in somebody's face, which is what it is when people are unvaccinated.
No, it's not. It's not. Because if you're going around pointing a gun in someone's face, you're there usually to do something malicious, right? You're not willy-nilling it. And if you are, chances are you're not all there. Because if you're going around, quote unquote, pointing a gun in people's face, so wait, you mean to tell me that I didn't know I had the gun and was pointing it? Well, no. Well, what if you're asymptomatic? What if you absolutely no, and you followed all the rules? Look, I'm all for vaccines. Guy who's listened for a while tweeted at me over the weekend, like DM'd me, and said, what made me get it? And I said, well, I got friends, and I've talked to them who are in the pharmaceutical world, the doctors, and I asked them, guys I trust, guys I grew up with and stuff, and I asked them, how good is this? Before it even was out. They said, dude, this technology they're working with, it's been around a while. It hasn't been used like this, but this is not something. And of course, J&J is DNA. That's been around forever and a day. I said, would you take it? They're like, one of them said, I already have. I said, okay. I trust you because I've known you. You're not going to steer me wrong. I looked at the data and I thought, I'm going to do it. I went and did it. I did not get any side effects. Oh, you're going to get side effects. You're going to be home for a month and a half. Didn't happen. So much of that was a bunch of crap. So much of it was. People just, they would take something and they would just, that's all they would focus on. Why? Because if it bleeds, it leads. That's what you need to know. Majority of people will survive this thing should they get it. There will be some that do not, some that are even in good health. There will also be people that you never hear from who should die from a stiff breeze and allergies, but will survive this and never even know they had it. When a plane crashes, we don't focus on the other 500,000 planes that were flying around that day and week that made it safely. When a person gets bit by a shark, we don't talk to the other 800 people that are on the beach in the water that didn't get bit by a shark. We want to talk to the family and the people directly. Why? Because if it bleeds, it leads. And that's something to be aware of. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Bill Maher had Andrew Sullivan on. He's a journalist, Pulitzer Prize nominee, talking about the newsroom. He's a very interesting cat. He's conservative, far more than a lot of other people in the news world, but not insane. But talking about the crazy wokeness of the world.
You were at New York Magazine, but you kind of quit them because newsrooms right now have become a place where You used to be able to fire by the editor or the owner. Now you're fired because the woke in the newsroom, right? You have to conform to the one true opinion, or they don't even want you in the building.
It's a complicated thing because actually I was fired. I was nominated for Pulitzer one year and the next year fired. Not for anything I wrote, but because I wasn't going to completely go along with their woke agenda.
Yeah. Now here's a guy who he calls himself a liberal conservatism, right? Disaffected with the Republican Party, can't stand a lot of what goes on in the Democrat Party. He has written for Time, The Atlantic, Daily Beast. He's Roman Catholic, and he's openly gay. So let's put it all together. So all of these things. All of these things. And he talks about the frustration. Here's a guy who gets nominated for something, but this is the insanity of which we live right now. And so much of it is based on, you don't think like I think. I should be protected from you and your opinion because I don't like it. And I keep going back to the Constitution, and it goes, nowhere in here does it say, nope, you can be offended. It's not in here. You can be offended. No. I don't want to be offended. My opinion's different, and because it's different, I believe it to be right.
They knew that. They knew that. I don't know what they were thinking. That's who I am anyway. I don't know why it's so terrible to have someone in a magazine or to have someone, a dissenter, in a magazine. It's fun, right? I mean, that's the whole point. I grew up wanting to debate, wanting to argue. I had a big Irish Catholic family. We fought about everything. What was the problem? And afterwards, we got together. We had a nice drink. We were totally cool about it.
And it's not even like you're very conservative.
Yeah. But he's got a differing opinion. He's not in the woke world the way it should be. Talks about society in itself, which I think is so true. Remember, you go back and you listen to Martin Luther King's great speech, and, essentially wanting us all to be colorblind, right? And don't judge me by the color of my skin. Let's just, what's inside? Who are you as a human being? Not who you represent as far as your religion, the community of which are you LGBTQ? Are you trans? Are you Islam? Just who are you as a human being?
You've written a lot about how we seem to be giving up on the idea of a colorblind society, which used to be the goal. It's like we didn't change, you changed.
Right.
I still think that should be the goal.
It is the goal. It must be the goal. Because our humanity matters more than the part of humanity we're from. And America, of all places, the most multiracial, multicultural society on earth, will not survive if we are constantly in warfare between groups or genders, if we're constantly obsessed with this.
And that's what we are. We have this new totalitarianism, which is these crazy lunatics who are out to get you 24/7, who are looking for a way to get you, who are looking for a way to destroy you, who are looking for a way to come for you. Did you say something? Did you sin in your past to the point where you must pay a price? Did you say something, an offhanded remark, where you must pay a price? Are you so irredeemable that we cannot redeem anything you have done? You are done. Because we are the internet and we have spoken, and based on whatever it is, which, by the way, the internet's not real. It's not. It's a real thing, but it's not real. Do you go by everything the internet says? Some people do, but as far as like Twitter, in particular, do you live and breathe on it? It's not a good thing. It's not. But that's where we are. And when you listen to that, and then you go back to, Mike Richards is gone before he ever did a show on Jeopardy. Right now, they're after Maya Beek, who was who has apparently said something about being an anti-vaxxer because she's an idiot. Oh wait, she's a neuroscientist, and she talked about the fact that she's and her family are vaccinated for COVID, but they're questioning that. I keep thinking the only reason people want LeVar Burton back is because they must have something on him and they want to destroy him, and they can't do it unless he's the dude. It's nuts. That's the stuff we need to worry about. That kind of craziness, because it seeps into everything. And this is why we can't have conversations in this country about real stuff when everything is you're this or you're that. Not my opinion's different. Oh, sorry, can't be that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Yes, it's called My Pillow, and yes, they've got Giza Dream Sheets. Long staple cotton is what Giza Dream Sheets are made of. So you got this little area, right? So you got the Sahara Desert, you got the Mediterranean, you got the Nile. Inside of there is this special cotton that's grown, long staple cotton. Breathable, comfortable, soft like you could not believe. That's what these sheets are made of. Normally, well over $100 for you right now. $49.99. 60-day money-back guarantee, 1-year warranty. Tons of sizes and colors to choose from. Take advantage of this and all of these amazing deals. You go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. I love these sheets. They are so incredible. You're going to sleep cooler, and you're going to feel the difference with these. It's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Grab these and all the other great things at deep discounts right now. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
If they are intent on continuing the occupation, so it will provoke a reaction.
Yep. Afghanistan, hot mess, JoJo. Best way to describe it. Situation at the airport.
There are civilians crowded at the airport, although we've cleared thousands of them. We know that terrorists may seek to exploit the situation and target innocent Afghans or American troops.
Yeah, you think? Of course they are. And they're doing what they do.
There's been a number of independent reports of families to journalists, families to translators, and others being arrested or even killed.
Yeah. It is not getting any better, and it's not going to get any better. We left it. It was a mess. Afghanistan was a mess. It's always been a hot mess. For centuries, it has been a nation / it's really a region with warlords. That's Afghanistan. For all intents and purposes, it's got 40 million people in it. 40 million people. So we're not talking about some small little, it's nobody there. It's got 40 million people. Now, compared to us, it's California. But when you think about it, what a hot mess it is. And what has it been mostly? I mean, you think about the people that have lived there, the groups that have run that country, and that's what they are. They've been warlords, they've been groups, they've been rulers. It's not been anything other than that. And over the weekend, he did nothing, I think, to change anybody's mind. And he's got a lot of work to do. And it's not about where we are at this moment, because you're not fixing that today, but it's about where we can go, where you can turn this around. And that includes where COVID's going. That includes where that we are sitting right now with inflation and the economy. That includes immigration and, yes, Afghanistan, because the poll numbers are showing of the things that you need. And as we all know, crap runs downhill, meaning the Senate and the House are both up for grabs next year in midterms. And if you don't want to be a lame duck president who basically has everything that you think that you've got in front of you now essentially choked off, where you don't get any of that, you better figure something out. But this is not a good start, and you've dropped, God knows what, 15 points on the economy with independence, almost 30 points with coronavirus, and overall 15 points across the board. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. The other big news of the day. Yes, it is official.
In announcing the approval, the FDA said the public can be very confident the Pfizer vaccine meets the high standards for safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality required of an approved product. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy told ABC News it would tip fence sitters toward taking the shot.
But second, I think you will see more universities and workplaces that were considering putting in requirements for vaccines to create safer places to learn and work. You'll see more of them likely moving forward.
Pfizer was the first vaccine maker to request FDA approval. Others are following suit.
Yep, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson on the way. So it is official. Pfizer's the first to get FDA full approval. So now it is rubber stamped. It is no longer an emergency portion of the vaccine. It's not a vaccine, it's a shot. Change your thinking. I think you'll change the way this thing comes out. Crazy day. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.